Hey everybody, Charlie here. Welcome back to Endzone. We've got a lot of problems, and I'm not entirely sure I can solve them, to be honest. Some of the decisions I made in the early game, and some of the sort of late game decisions that were made, well, not late game, but decisions made lately, if you will, have kind of caught up to the point where it's not going well. We currently have another bout of toxic rain falling on us now. So highly contaminated rain, still a thing that we're going to have to deal with. And while I have provided protective equipment for most settlers so they can withstand having, like they have the carbon masks and stuff, they can withstand the medium radiation now. But the thing that can't is our food supply. So let's change this. This is something I missed. And I honestly probably would have continued to miss it if commenters hadn't pointed it out. Now, I don't want to... I want to be careful about that, because I normally, when people get super backseaty, I just tend to tune them out. But every now and then, I'll see something, and I'll go, wait, what? That's a thing? Because a lot of times, almost always, I'm being told things I already know. And I'm choosing to do it a different way. But this time, totally missed it. This weather station is not just for forecasting rain. There is an element to this about covering up your fields during contaminated rains. Totally missed that part. So I need to do this ASAP. So I guess in this one instance, thank you for your help on that. Okay, so we're gonna go like this, and I am gonna just there or there. I guess it doesn't really matter because this thing is going to take a lot of resources to build. This stuff is so large, right? It takes a massive amount of resources to build this. And I'm not entirely sure we can, because we're very low on scrap. We have no tools now. We have no medication to help the 47 people who are sick. We only have one medic, and they're not even on their post. We have very few people to gather food. But that's okay, because sooner or later, we're going to have very few people that need fed. So I guess that's the thing. What else? Yeah. Oh, also, this has a field of work. I set this before, but I guess when it crashed, we had to start over from, like, without the autosave. And now I haven't set it back, so I'm going to do that right there. The cemetery has to go out and actually get the dead bodies in order for that to work. Do we even have the morticians for that? 2 out of 2 morticians. Now, there's also a logistician. And I have no idea what that is. I want to say that has something to do with maybe the expeditions, but I don't know that. Expeditions are not in the game yet. There's also irrigators, which I would have to build, I think, an irrigation station for that. Maybe it's a market, actually. Logistician. Maybe that's a market thing. Central building for distributing all the resources in a settlement. See, I'd love to have, I'd love to have one of these. But just the way everything works out with the way the land is and stuff, there's no good place to build it unless I want to cut into my farmland. I think one of the bigger, most important things to build right now is going to be this. And while I can click build next on this, the builders will only build this next if it's actually built. Sorry, if it actually has the stuff delivered, right? Right now we have to remove radiation. That's 387 work. And there's really no one to do that. So I can pull people off scrap collection. I can pull people off water carrying, because there's really not... I don't know. Like, I need more people on food than anything else in the game right now. And I feel like we're probably going to get people dying from starvation here any second. So I'm going to speed this up. Now, someone else told me that only a maximum number of people can work the jetties. I don't know where you're getting that, because it's not written anywhere from what I can tell. And I am seeing more than the number of people you stated using one of these jetties. I'm seeing that anyway. Earlier, I was seeing like 10 people on here at once. So I'm not entirely sure where that information comes from. Maybe it's in the help area, I guess. If I go to thirst? Does it say that specifically? Because I don't think it does. I don't think it says anywhere where there's a limitation to how many people can use a jetty at once. Because I've seen, like, way over 4 at a time use this jetty before. Under the assumption that it's just another one of those things that isn't stated in the game but exists, I can go ahead and make another one. I don't find it necessary at all, but I can make another one if that's something that people think is necessary. So there you go. Okay, so like anyway, I'm not entirely sure this colony can be successful. At least in the short term, we're gonna have a lot of deaths. Maybe it will equalize itself out and work itself out once we get, like, I don't know, a sufficient food supply is what we really need. Like, the food is the biggest thing. And I'm kind of hoping I see some results here. If I tell them to harvest these crops, like right now, they should start gathering at least a little bit of food. And they're going to take it over to the bus. The people are going to eat it, like, right away, you know? I'm looking at the chart up here. Settlers with no tools. I want to know why people are dying. Tell me only the deaths. Died from radiation and was replaced by another settler. Died of starvation. These are children dying of starvation. That part sucks. Wood stored. It would give me 50 herbs and 30 scrap if I could store enough wood. Is that something I need? Well, in order to build things, I'm going to need wood anyway. I'm going to pull a couple people onto forestry, a couple more on fishing, one more on farming, please. But my luck is that by the time we get our food thing sorted out, we'll just get another drought right away anyway. We do have a lot of rain seasons happening back to back, and we do have these rain collectors. Now, these guys are going to gather from the rain collectors last. So we're going to see things like the cisterns, of course, the jetties, and the wells. Those are going to be, like, priority for, like, getting water. But they're all getting radiated, like irradiation. Now we're getting people removing radiation here, which is good. I know there's a task to remove radiation, but I'm pretty sure that not all people do this, right? Like, if I could remove radiation just that simple, I would. But I don't think anybody is going to do this from my fields because there isn't really a need to do it. Even though the whole place is irradiated, they can't remove that, right? They can remove radiation from stuff like this, where the icon exists. I'm just kind of replying to a comment. Like, this right here, this is radiation, but it's already queued to be removed. Yeah, here comes the rain. Yeah. Thankfully, most of our colonists now have protection. So, most of them anyway, I think should be fine from those elements. But our food is all irradiated now. That's a big issue. And it's not an issue I know how to solve right now. I'm going to let this run for a little bit longer to see whether or not we can get this station built, get scrap and stuff built. And I'm just going to, like, I don't want to say take a break from commentary, but, like, sometimes you need to just take a step back and think about things without actually, like, you know, speaking and thinking about what to say and stuff. So, because you always play games better when you're not recording. And I just want to see if I can solve any of these issues. So I'm going to be right back and I'll let you know kind of how it goes and what I might have done. If it just plays out over time, that's fine. We do have another drought happening though. And so I'm going to have to focus on water once again. So yeah, I'll be right back. All right, I've got a lot of water gathered here. I've got pretty much everybody I can find on water carrying. And I've made this new jetty, but now they only use this one. They don't use this one anymore. They're not going to use multiple jetties, right? They're just going to use the one that's closest. And everybody uses it. It doesn't seem like anybody's just getting in the way, you know, or getting in the way of anyone else. But I also don't feel like if I look at this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was 5, isn't it? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 people on that, right? They all have to carry it back, and new people come in all the time. This rotation happens. But I don't think there's actually enough people doing it, you know? 27 out of 30. I feel like there should be more doing this. But having another jetty doesn't matter. Or at least it doesn't seem to matter. So I'm just going to demolish this, get a little bit of the resources back for it, and we'll keep the 1 jetty. Now over here, the weather station almost has stuff delivered. And we're at 5 out of 6 on the electronics. So we just need a little bit more of that. However, I have still basically no food. I think we've sufficiently gathered enough water to make it through the drought, but I have basically no food now. So I'm going to take people off of fishing, take people on farming all the way. I want everyone farming if we can. Let's max out farming. And now we need to just basically harvest all the crops. Now, I don't know if this is the best idea or not, but I do know that crops, they're not going to grow. They're going to wilter away and die and stuff in a drought. So whatever food exists in these crops right now, I want it in inventory. Now, I also have another cemetery being built because our current one is full. Our current one? Yeah, that's full. I can put people on hunting as well. That is a job I can give people. And I don't think gathering is going to be useful right now, but I can put people on hunting at least. I don't think herbalist will be helpful. Teacher is always helpful. I need some more morticians, but they don't have anything to do because, well, it's full. So we can put a couple more people on building maybe, but the hunters, I think having more... Oh, this is a gatherer's cabin. Where's the hunter? Right here. I think having more hunters next time may actually be good because they can still hunt during the droughts and stuff. They can still do their thing. So is there another... Oh, another thing I noticed, and I didn't notice this before, of course, is that the cistern, it can be upgraded to a water tower. That's a pretty sizable upgrade. So we could have 2 big water towers instead. And I kind of like that because these 2 cisterns, they're used a lot. I mean, all 3 of these are kind of used. But if one of these was upgraded to a water tower, I think that'd be awesome. Thing is, we're completely out of scrap now. So I'm going to hit upgrade on this. But then I'm also going to need to send people out to get scrap. So let's get some of the water carriers and switch them to scrap collectors and see if we can get some more scrap brought in, because we're also not able to get any more electronics made or cloth, metal, plastic. We're not able to do any of that stuff at the refinery unless we have scrap. And hopefully our farmers can sufficiently gather the food. It looks like they are staying positive in their gathering of the food. I just need 1 electronic, dude. Like, that's it. And then we have a weather station. And then we can protect our crops. We do love these mounds of garbage, but that turned out to be a bit too much. Yeah, I have not been able to complete these tasks. I'm completely focused on everything else. But see, now that I'm focused entirely on food and water, I'm lacking in protective clothing. Apparently, these masks, they just don't last. Which is so weird. You'd think if I had 70 masks available, we would be able to move them around. I really think changes need to be made to this game so that protective clothing is not buried. Valuable protective clothing is not buried with the bodies. It's really silly that you would bury the masks with the bodies. In any case, I pulled people off of being tailors, and I need to put people back on being tailors if I have any hopes of keeping up with that supply. So I'll put people on tailors. And hopefully we'll be able to get caught up on that again. We're also out of tools again. Now that we have water, or at least we're about to have water, I can look at maybe taking a few people off of farming, And sticking more people on water collection. Maybe that'll work. Once the water comes back. We only managed to get 15 scrap in that whole deal. It's because everything is so far away. Everything is so far away for gathering. Scrap here. This stuff's not that far away. But they choose to come all the way out here and get this stuff instead of getting the stuff that's really close by. Which I guess, I mean, I did mark that whole area, so... Yeah, there's so many bodies. Getting this built is going to be huge. I'm going to make sure that our workforce is positive in this building. So now we have a cemetery, a new cemetery, and 2 morticians. So hopefully we can get a lot of these guys buried, and that'll increase their confidence. Maybe allow them, I don't know, maybe allow them to get back at it, you know? Get back on things the way we need them to be on it. Which one of you are making electronics? Honestly, I think all of you should be on cloth, because the cloth is being generated nearby where we need the masks and protective clothing made. You're making metal tools, which is totally fine, as long as we have somebody to actually work in this building. Other tool makers, you. We already have somebody there. And you are making masks as well. Okay, good. Now, we don't have any charcoal, and that's because we don't have anybody working the charcoal burners, so we're kind of barely keeping up with everything right now. I don't have anybody refining. Pull people off hunting. Go 1 fisher. 2. Never mind, people are dying faster than I can assign them. Off scrap. Get on charcoal. And then I guess that's all I can assign. My colony is built for more people. Without having enough people, the whole place is really not being operated efficiently. There are just buildings that are vacant and can't be worked. Now, I did manage to get all the rest of this stuff hooked up to power. So during the day, at least, these power lines are running through here. They come back to this. They connect to this pole. This pole connects all the way over here as well. But this is where the power stops. So as long as we can get the weather station up, which requires 1 more electronic. Darn it. I need people working in refineries. I'm going to put that one on electricity for the time being. Or sorry, on electronics for the time being. So we get that 1 extra electronic to get it over here. And then hopefully we can finally start covering our fields. We have uncontaminated rain right now, which is a big deal. I just don't have enough people for this. I need so many more farmers. Give me, forget the scrap collection. Give me as many farmers as we can get. I need so many farmers. I'd like to have more fields too. I just don't want to take away from like the herbalists gathering and stuff. Maybe we could put some fields back here. I was going to say this for housing, of course, but I'm thinking, yeah, we need fields. We need food, so... we'll do that. And I think if we can build more cabins, great, but we're completely out of wood now. So I need people on forestry too. I just cannot staff every building. I can't staff every job. I need more people carrying water. I clearly need more farmers. Maybe less farmers, but more fishers. I need instant, like, I need constant food. The farms take a bit to get. Yeah, I just need more people. That's what it comes down to right now. This town is not... it's not set up very efficiently. and it's not set up very well for 56 adults. It's set up for 100 adults, right? I can fully staff it for 100 adults and have people doing scrap, because right now I have to choose either get scrap or get food or get refined goods. I can't have all three. I can only choose one out of the three. Do I want resources? Do I want food and water? Or do I want scrap? If I try to divide, I do all of them inefficiently, right? So like, look at the food. It's just not coming in. This crop is almost ready to go. I'm gonna tell them to harvest it now. And I should have enough farmers where they'll just do that. Still waiting on that one electric part, which should be here. Yeah. But the guy that was working here, well, he died. So now there's no refiners. Ugh. Damn it. I think the game just wants to kill me. I think that's what it is. I think the game wants to kill me. I think it says, hey, you know what? This slow death, it's not going to cut it. We need a quick death. Because now it's giving me no rain, then a drought, and then no rain for 2 additional seasons. Which is, like, really shitty. It's really shitty, okay? So, like, once again, I have to put everyone on water carrier. Otherwise, we won't make it through the drought. But right now, we're going to starve. I can't give you protective equipment. I can't give you tools. We simply don't have the people for it. If I take people off of fishing, stick them on water carrier, I can try. We simply don't have the people to maintain the infrastructure that's in place. The logistics of running this colony. And I can't grow the population because everyone's so unhealthy, right? The radiated people are infertile. So it's coming down to people being too old, too infertile, not having enough food, and they're still dropping. We're still dropping population. I think this is just like I don't want to quit and say it's GG, but I don't know, like, it feels weird as like a YouTuber, as a streamer, as a content creator, whatever, right? Viewers expect all of us as like people who are on the internet playing games. Viewers expect all of us to be great at games, you know? So when something like this happens, it's like, you know, am I failing at my ultimate goal? And I'm not. I'm supposed to be here entertaining you. And, you know, that's the goal, entertainment. It's not to be good at games. But it sure does help. It sure does help when you know what you're doing. But this is like, you know, first playthrough. And normally I would say first playthrough we do well. I did choose maybe like, I don't want to say it was ambitious for the settings, but because I didn't choose hard mode, but I didn't choose easy mode either. And I think that I just made critical mistakes, real critical mistakes in the beginning of this colony that resulted in just catastrophic failure. I did not pay attention to clothing, and then it blanketed me with radiation everywhere, made everyone sick. And from that point on, it's been a snowball of just trying to keep up. Trying to figure out how to keep people who are infertile, but also grow the population, which I can't do. And now the game is saying, GG, Charlie, because it says drought and then no rain for 2 additional seasons. And that's just, like, there's no water. There's no food. There's not a whole lot I can do about hungry settlers. 55 people out of the 53 adults. So basically everyone has poor health, so they can't have babies. 24 people are still irradiated, and this is how this colony ends. We simply do not have a population that can stand the test of time. So I want to start over, knowing what I've known now, having learned the things I've learned now, I want to start over, I think, and get this to be in the right spot and do it correctly this time. You know, actually demonstrate what a successful colony looks like. I'm going to do the same settings. I don't think it's too hard. I just think I've made too many mistakes that I can't come back from. The clothing thing, not having protective clothing, screwed the entire game for me. When the game went down and irradiated the whole map and everyone became sick, it was at that point that everything went to shit, right? The entirety of our camp went to shit then. And there isn't really a way to recover from that. When every single colonist you have is infertile, when everyone is unhealthy, when your crops are being just constantly drenched with radiation to where they're not producing any food anymore, all of that stuff together just led to all of this happening. So I want to start over, and we're going to do that in the next video, I think, because I can't come back from this. We're down to 23 adults. Scratch that, 21 adults. And it's at this point where, I mean, I can't. I have no people to do any job that's necessary. I need protective clothing. But on everyone needs clothing. But I also have to tend fields. But I also have to make sure we have water. And there is only one rain season. Well, okay, never mind. There's a second rain season. But they're giving me 2 rain seasons and then another drought. So it's just compounding everything. So we're down to 15 adults now. I think that's GG for this colony. We can do a lot better, okay? We can do a lot better with what we've learned. And I think the next one will be way different. The next one will be way more effective. And I hope you'll join me for that, because there's a lot of, well, I'll just simplify it by saying that most YouTubers probably wouldn't show their failures. Most people who record and make series on games like this, they do not show their failures. They'll play through it once, they'll learn the ropes, and then they'll record it. But the problem with that, with a brand new game, and this is, you know, brand new, when I released it on the day of release, right? The problem with that is that if you're not first, you're last, especially on YouTube. So you gotta have to balance it sometimes. And like, this is not a foreign type of game for me. I know how to play these games. But little tiny details, like the weather station covering fields, that just, I'm like, what? Covering your fields? The rain is still gonna get on the ground. It's still gonna irradiate the ground. It'll contaminate the groundwater, which would in turn contaminate your crops anyway. But okay, sure. Like, stuff like that. The fact that this refinery is so much more OP than the rest of these recyclers, pretty nuts. I kind of get the reason why we want to start with these, but there's really no reason to keep them like afterwards, you know. Charcoal kilns, I underestimated the value of that with creating masks, and then just making masks in general. I think I'm gonna skip the scarves and go straight to mask production. I think that's what you have to do. Because when that thing rains down radiation and your whole map is covered with medium radiation, scarves don't cut it. Even if we had the scarves, it wouldn't cut it. So, yeah. At this point, I think we're going to say GG on this one, and we're going to start another one. And I hope you'll join me for that one. Because, yeah, this one's clearly a failure. And you guys, well, if anyone's watched my Surviving Mars videos, you guys know that I will show my failures. I will take you through the process of learning from our mistakes, because that's part of being human. It's part of being, just being, is making mistakes and learning from them, right? So come on this journey with me. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you. And we'll see you right away for a brand new start. And it's probably already live. I'm probably going to post the new start pretty close to when this one happens. I'll put them in the same playlist. I don't care. Put them in the same playlist. It's fine. So, yeah, check the pinned comment down below. We'll have it. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.